Hi everyone, welcome to a new stream. Okay, so here we go today. To be honest, I'm really nervous. I'm really excited, and not just because I have the pleasure to introduce you to the Sine player and to Jxl Brass, to the library, but also, I mean, do the math. This is a live stream, and this is basically almost the release of this library and an entire new sample engine. So I know that the Sine player works absolutely stable and is absolutely amazing performance-wise. I mean, this is really amazing considering that it was just developed like this. At least it seems like it was developed like that easily, and now it's just day one or maybe day zero because I heard or I've seen that they delayed the release to tomorrow, to Tuesday. But I mean, as I wanted to say, this is a live stream. This is the first time or the first day of that instrument. So just in case something is happening, what I don't think will happen, but you may see me with a little be right back screen and then probably reloading Cubase just in case something goes wrong. But I'm really amazed how awesome this thing is. I mean, if I think back to, to very first tries of getting samplers going, and especially during the time when, for example, Contact was released back then many years. And I mean, I'm just really amazed how well this thing works. So hi, everyone, to be here. And I actually have to get used to a video from East West Quantum Leap Brass. Yeah, man, thanks. Hi, nice to see you all here. I'm so glad to be able to present this stuff to you. And what I want to do first, actually, I wanted to say something. Well, wasn't probably that important, but I will do it like this. I mean, there are many tutorial videos of the Sine player and Jxl Brass. Actually, Tom was also live today this afternoon, and he published the video on YouTube like a few minutes or few hours before, I don't know. But what I will want to do is that just in case you didn't listen to my demo yet, I want to play you my demo first and then talk about how I used the library to get this track done. Okay, so let's start. Let's just go through the demo here. I mute my mic here. Yay, that's the track. I was a little bit worried because the ending, when I played the ending the last time, there was a little bit of a glitch, but it was probably, so basically everything you experience, if there is something happening, is related to my system. Because, I mean, I probably went through a lot of stages by testing the Sine player, and you know, I deleted stuff, reinstalled stuff, and experimented and tested around with new releases. So if something is happening, it could be probably related to my system. So I would just do it like this. I mean, just let me know what you want to see first, what you want to do first. But if there is nothing you guys come along with, I would just start with going how I use the library and how I work with it. So again, that's what I wanted to say before. If there are countless tutorials out there, you know, like from Orchestral Tools, Hendrik did really nice and charming walkthroughs. Actually, yes, it was a Sine workout. So walkthrough videos where I was sitting down and explaining most of the features. So I'm not going to make this an entire tutorial video, but just how I use the library to get my demo done here. So let's just open the trombones, the combo thing here, because that would be a good start to explain some stuff. And what I did basically, or how I'm used to use samplers and instruments. Probably if you know that I love layering, that I not just love layering libraries, doesn't mean like, you know, layering like 3 or 4 brass libraries, but also articulations. So as you can see here, and this is the beauty about the Sine player, usually you have key switches when it comes to changing articulations, but I'm not a fan of key switches. I like to have to layer these articulations and build my own sort of custom articulations. So when I'm just playing, for example, a line like in this track somewhere here, I loaded the sustain articulations, the marcato shorts, and the staccatissimos, and this sounds like this. So by doing this, we can go through. And by the way, I just want to mention this right away. There has been a lot of, discussions on forums where people said that the library is pretty big. I mean, even if it's, I'm not really sure how the compression works, if it's 300 gigabytes on space for all the microphone instances or 600 gigabytes. Yes. I'm not really sure, but what I used for this demo was just, and you probably won't believe it, just the 3 microphone settings. So the only thing I used was 1 microphone setting, and it was the 3, not even one of these Jxl trees or some additional close mics or whatever, just the 3 microphones. So therefore, the library I used, and I had to do it because my machine is 7 years old, and I just didn't want to go full rampage. So the library, my Jxl Brass library currently on the drive is just around 22 gigabytes big, just for the 3 microphones. So, yes, what I want to say. So the reason why I did this is the setup like this is that I have the sustains. Let me just write this, what I want to do. So we have the sustains. And by the way, I should probably also turn off the reverbs. I have 2 reverbs going on here. I will explain later what I did exactly here. Just remind me. So I can play the sustains as usual, but also by introducing the marcatos, I can give the trombones a little bit more of an attack, but just a subtle attack. And also by layering it with the, let's load them all, with the staccatissimos, I can just give it a little bit more attack. And since the staccatissimos is triggered by velocity, I can decide, if I want to have heart attack, heart attack. If I want to have a heart attack or just a marcato attack or just the subtle sustain. So I could just play it really low. But if I want to have some really hard and when it comes to repetitions, I can easily turn down the met wheel entirely and just go with the staccatissimos. So just in case I want to do repetitions, I'm just muting the microphone for a second. So therefore, I don't need any key switches. I don't need any complicated setups and whatever scripts and this is the beauty about this, about the Sine player, that I can just come up with whatever I want. We will be fooling around with it. We can even set up way more sophisticated stuff that you can fade in between, which makes a lot of more sense when you have strings, for example, that you can morph in between sustain and sustain and, for example, tremolo strings. I mean, it should be pretty obvious that, that orchestral tools will probably port all like the Berlin strings and all these things to the player. And so what else could I show right for now? Let's play with this with a track here. Let's maybe play the brass or some parts of it. Hi, Ian. Welcome. So let me just play the brass for soloed. As you can see here, what I did is exactly it's better to program it than just play it. Oops. When you open the tuba, sorry, the trombones here for the first line, and you see that I did the mod wheel cuts. So I just wanted to have this. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. So if I would just go in here and delete these, let's do it like this, it would sound entirely different. So that we'd hear a little bit more of the marcato samples, and this is what I don't want, but actually also want to have when it comes to different parts. So the next thing, let's check out the tuba, because this tuba thing really, this thing really rocks. I did the same, loaded the sustain samples, marcato shorts, and the staccatissimos, so I can really. So I'm a German. This had to be for a second. And this is what I really, really like about this entire library. The dynamic level of this is like, like this. You can really play some very soft passages. I mean, you obviously have the, let me mute the marcatos for a second here. Let's just solo the sustain for a second. So this is so hard to find really low recorded, in low dynamics recorded brass instruments, but on the other side, blasting it out like crazy when you want to. Okay, so basically the same I did for the trumpets too and the horns. Let's just check these parts here. Actually, there's one. I used one of these soft trombones here in that middle part. So even with that soft patch, you can still something. So this is the dynamic is probably this dynamic. How do you say, like the entire dynamic range is really, really amazing. So what else did I do here? I have another patch. So, you know, I don't like key switches in general. I could have done this probably all with just one trombone set, but I mean, this is how I work. And if you work like this, or if you want to work like this and you're looking for something else, another solution instead of key switches, this is probably a good way, because it's just easy to work with. All you have to, and it isn't not really that much tracks going on for the brass itself, because it's like, I mean, this is tubas, trombones, horns, and trumpets. It's like the traditional setup. And I also used A6 trombones, and also 12 trombones for, you know, especially for the staccato part towards the end here. And, you know, I'm almost ashamed that I have to say I didn't use any of the chimbasi for this track, even though they would have fit perfectly. But I just wanted to go with a more, you know, let's say like the typical traditional setup of trumpets, horn, trombones, and tuba. Okay, so let's jump to the... Did I miss anything? So just in case, if I'm too fast, just in case you want to know or talk about something specifically, but I thought just going through the brass first. The chat is so quiet, actually. But it's so glad to see, yeah, 9 people are actually here already. So hi to everyone new. Lots of familiar faces. Yeah, glad to see you. Man, this thing, actually, the channel built really fast. I mean, I am close to like 100 followers. I would never have imagined this would have grown so fast. Let's load the horns for a second. Oh, Toby, thanks for following. And I also did this every time you see this combo patch. I just did it to have the sustains, the Maccardo short, and the staccattissimos. I mean, this is amazing. This is just 4 horn players. I mean, I could be, you know, a little bit ironic or sadistic and ask how many people died during this recording session. I mean, of course, I hope no one, but I mean, these are really intense patches. I mean, I was watching this video of Tom in the afternoon, and he did some more sound design patches of the trombones and tubas and horns layered and pitched them down. Also the trumpets pitched down. It was really amazing. So even as a, you know, trailer guy, I was just using it almost too traditional, you know. I could have gone way more crazy. Yes, okay. So hope you enjoy work. Hope you have a stress-free day, Toby. Thanks for the quick visit, and hope to see you Hope to see you soon. So, another combo for the 12 horns here, especially for this ending part. Okay, by the way, I changed a little bit the screen resolution, so I hope you can see everything all right. Also, I was able to raise the audio quality a little bit, so it should be better than the last time. It's just in case. You hear or experience something still not being very well, I'm happy to work it out. So here is a little legato patch I used for the horns. Also, I just want to check. Yes, I muted the reverb. So I just wanted to make sure that you just hear. Also, in the beginning, I featured the solo horn. I mean, this is just the solo horn. Okay, I will make sure to check this. Check the resolution, but I figured the last video was just recorded in 720p, so I just wanted to have it. Yeah, being the jukebox, you know, I suck at keyboard playing. I can't, you know, give me the guitar and I could just, you know, figure it out real fast. But I would just have to sit here and learn for a second. You know, I'm really probably the worst keyboard player among composers. So actually, I forgot to write the combo in here. So let's just do this for the trumpet. Let's just do this to not be confusing here. So I did the same again, just loading the sustains, the short marcatos and staccatissimos. You know, there was also, I was reading some, you know, comments about the trumpets or the brass sounding synthy or stuff like this. I mean, it all depends on what microphone instances you're using. I mean, the thing is, this library is like, if you quickly go to so I hope this works all right now, that when I go to my brass library here, just for a second, and you check all the details, and you see the amount of microphone instances I can download. I will not do it for now because I want to make sure, because of the space and everything. But this is all if I just want to go in here and say, okay, I need for the 12 horns, I want to have the two close microphones and one of the surround mixes, the surround microphones, and for example, the AMXL mid or the tree, I could just take this, download it instantly, and just use it within my library here, within the player. So this is really cool. There is no, hassle changing to some tool which makes the library accessible, if you know what I mean. And then, you just import it and then dealing with all these serial numbers and stuff like this. So this is, just everything all in once. And I just love it. And regarding, if it's, the thing is, when I just play back my track with all that brass, of course, there will be somebody saying, is it like, sounding synthy or not? But it just sounds, I think, pretty decent within the track, Or with parts here. Okay, so and if you think, man, this mix sounds a little bit synthy or not right or too epic or too traditional, whatever, you can totally design your own stuff and go with that. I'm not even really sure. I would have to do some research again, but I think you can even set your whole mix, your own mix for everything, and just use these settings for all the instruments. But please don't. I don't want to spread any lies here or any rumors. But even though I spent quite some time with the library, I'm not all knowing, which is a good thing. Yeah, this is really the cool thing, this modular thing, that you can just set it up as you want. Let me just finish, talking about some of the instruments. And also let's talk a little bit how I use the strings. This is all Berlin strings, by the way, obviously. And I also use the Berlin woodwinds. And even the choirs are from Metropolis Arc 1. So let me just want to go over the strings for a second. I mean, there is nothing really, amazing happening. It's just a lot of runs and stuff. Yeah, I had to do it, sorry. And I think it makes a little bit more sense. So I hope this is just the autosave, the autosave wheel from Cubase. It makes a little bit more sense when you listen it together with the woodwinds, because I just set these up to basically, support the brass parts. So let's listen to this combined. so on. Nothing spectacularly happening with the strings and the woodwinds in general. I mean, as I said, a lot of runs, but it's just to accompany the. Okay, so let's hop to the choir real quick here, because this thing is entirely the choir from Arc 1. And what I did here was using my typical approach of loading the marcatos or the sustains and the staccato samples, and then what I also do is, what I like doing is, always have a pedal note going on for the choirs itself. So you get this kind of. Just a little part, but I think it felt. So as you can probably figured out, the title of the track is Lord of the Last Revolution. So it's like a split of 3, soundtracks, famous soundtracks. Although I'm not claiming that I'm able to create stuff like this, but if you probably have heard, there is a little very famous thing going on in that part. So you guys probably know this one. And for the other parts, I mean, I didn't claim to be some, but I just had fun to do some parts a little bit like, no, this part here. So just to, kind of, fake my way a little bit through a little bit of the Star Wars-ish feeling and some Lord of the Rings stuff here. So I came up with that, that merging of these titles, of these 3 titles here. So what do we talk about now? Let's just quickly go through the percussions I used. I'm just reading my favorite composer. Oh, thank you for following. By the way, thank you for following. So my favorite composer, man, this is just. I mean, of course, like the big guys, definitely Hans Zimmer and John Williams, and definitely Don Davis. I mean, since we are that guy probably influenced me a lot, even though you can't hear it from my music writing in general. But it doesn't matter if you can hear it. But he influenced me a lot. I mean, I just like that way of also what I tried to do in that part. I don't even know my own track. Where did I do this? No, here? No. Oh, sorry. This part. No. I don't find my own here. I this this thing here. I mean, was also a style element of a very, kind of a famous soundtrack. Actually, it was also part of John Adams' Harmonielehre. I think that was that long track called the 45-minute track of John Adams? Yes. So these are basically my composers. I don't really go for this idle thing. Yeah, this is my, I just listen to something and I really like it and I really dig it. And then, there's something else coming along. And then I listen to that for a lot or a longer time. So it's not that I have like constantly the same influences. And, I mean, my favorite band is kind of Meshuggah, and my favorite songwriter is Sting. So these guys don't do, actually not doing that much with orchestral music, but yeah, definitely. So, and also I hope you enjoy my stream. So there will be a lot more to come. Definitely. What did I want to? What I want to do? Yeah, the percussions. So basically, there is not a lot of going on here, but just thought I would just quickly feature these here. This is actually Pandora again. I recently did a video about this, about Symphonia 4, which is just this amazing library, and I used it because it's so easy to dial in some. Let me just check the drums here. Let me just play you the percussions real quick. A little bit of soft timpani going on here, but let me just hop to these parts here. So also we have some Hans Zimmer taiko ensemble at the Ironically, I use the Jxl mixes on this library. So what I quickly should mention about Pandora and Symphonia 4, that it's so awesome that you just, for example, load the cymbal ensembles and say 4 beats, and then you just... And it's exactly 4 beats long, or you set it to 8 beats, and then you have this roll going on for 8 beats. So you can quickly load. I mean, how many times did you experience this when you load up Percussions and then you say, how long is this crescendo? You know, and then you listen back to it, and then where was the climax again? And then maybe you render it to audio and move it along. So this is really a cool thing to work with. Also, there's a little bit of Glockenspiel going on. I hope I pronounced that right. Yeah, just, you know, providing some... And a little bit of harp, which just does... I shouldn't really show it because it's it's just playing some weird runs. Sorry. So I was basically just... if you would have seen me recording this, I was just doing like this and then exchanging. If you see these... This is like something, you know, when you had to write in school, when you had to write something in school, and then you had to give it to the teacher, and he was correcting, and he was like, "Oh my God, this looks like so shitty and so, you know, chaotic. I don't even want to look at it." And you were embarrassed to show it to the teacher. So I'm feeling about this right now when I did these runs here. But it works, you know? So that was basically everything. I also used, to be honest, the library name was Quantum, so I used the little hit at the end to make it a little bit more dramatic. But that's basically the entire instruments I used for this. So before we jump into the instruments more, the Jxl Brass, let me just quickly show you what I did mixing wise. And as you can see here, there is a lot of effects happening, but this is for my vocals. So there is nothing going on basically except a little bit of stuff on the strings here. I just applied my little bump here at 4 kilohertz I'm always using. Let me just quickly show this because this is pretty interesting. When you turn this off, I mean, to be honest, I always had this problem of having, you know, synthy or MIDI-ish no, not synthish, but midi-ish sounding strings. And of course, it's always, I could, probably you could spend weeks or days tweaking string libraries, programming-wise, but also mixing-wise. But I think there is a great, something is happening when you just get rid of like 3 or 6 dB sometimes of this around 4 I was about to say gigahertz. I got my new machine today, actually, so I'm still in hardware land. Yes, at 3 kilohertz. Even this sounds nice. So it feels like it gives a little bit more distance to the actual recordings. And so that was this. This was that. And then I had some compression going on the strings. Not much. You almost don't see it happening here. Just a little bit. But it just toasts it all a little bit together. Well, was I self-taught? Did I go to school? Well, actually, I studied guitar in Los Angeles in 1997 to 98, something. So like 150 years ago. And but my main instrument was guitar. But of course I learned the entire music harmony and theory, but not. I mean, I didn't have some orchestral, studying time or studying years. I had some private lessons with some cool guys, but mostly the orchestral stuff is self-taught. So what next? I just also had nothing on the brass, by the way. There is nothing going on here except also a little bit of compression to just, toast it all a little bit together. And to have a little bit of control on the dynamics a little bit. But I wanted to make sure that whenever I'm writing a demo, that there is nothing going on which is like completely, altering the sound of a library, because I have to stay honest here, because on the other side, we have to be, honest here and saying, I mean, we have responsibility as demo composers for libraries. So just as a recommendation, if you will ever go out and write demos for sample library developers, always make sure to have the sound as it is from the library, except the developer ones, like write me really like a demo with the sounds being implemented as intended as a, professional composition. And but the cool thing is, even if the orchestral tools guy said, you know what, just do everything with a library just to make it sound as you want, I wouldn't probably do something else than just doing a little bit of compression, because it sounds great. I did a little bit more stuff. I can show you when the little autosave thing is over. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind words. As I really said before, I really appreciate, because without you guys, this all would be nothing. Okay, the choir. I did a little bit of stuff here. I did some more heavy compression. I think I compressed this thing to death. Let me just show this. So it's like almost 11. Is it 11? Sort of. I always do this because then you can really blend. Let me just. So by doing a lot of compression on the choir, as artificial it may sound, or over compressed actually, you get this nice bump of having heart attacks, as you would usually do with a voice. Because if I would just use the sustains and I would do it like, I mean, it's a bit unfair because there's just an R sample. But if let me just load in this quickly and mute the staccato samples. So if you do faster stuff, you hear it, and if you did, so you can simulate a little bit of choir, and if it's like buried in the mix, you know. So this is the next step. I, completely changed the curve of this. I mean, the choir usually sounds like this. So you may say, man, this sounds much better without EQ. But the thing is, yes, it may sound better when you listen to it soloed, but not in the track itself, because it steals way too much middle frequencies, which I want to use for the horns and the trombones, everything below here. I mean, of course, trombones and probably the tuba below 50. There isn't much happening, but I just tend to clean up a little bit all the instruments. I could have cleaned them up, each individual of these instruments, because the more space you create, you can see it like a little room. Let's say like a little storage room, and you have all kinds of boxes. And when there's like stuff sticking out, you want to clean that out so all the boxes fit right exactly into the storage room. And the more tidy it is, you can compare it like this, the more tidy your mix will sound. So the best is when you have elements like this. Let's try it like this. Hey, Tom, nice to see you. Thanks for following me. And let's just go through the choir again. And let me just bypass the EQ while the full track is running. So you have a lot of going on, and this is like almost like the frequency of the trombones and the horns. And I simply wanted to leave space for that. While it was totally cool that it just bumps into the trumpets, because they are just playing like dit, 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 and all this. And you also have the piccolo and the flutes. So there is a lot of, accompanying stuff happening. Okay, this is what happened for the mix. This is everything. The other thing I did for the track on the orchestral, so just for the routing, so I hope you get this, or I didn't show it so far. The strings, all the strings are green. Strings are always green for me. No debate about this. Strings are green, brass is blue, and roses are red, woodwinds are red. And so all these go into these buses here. And finally, the strings, brass, and the woods, you can see the buff here, go into the orchestral stem. And on that track, on this bus, there is just a little bit of, let me just open these two. This is just a little bit of the Softube RC48 and the Lexicon, the Lex Hall, exactly, is it? And let me just dial in the first one of these. Thanks, Tom, for the feature. So there's not a lot happening here. Let me just mute the microphone. It's just a tad happening, and but it's supposed to give a little bit more room. And then I also have something more like a long, nice tail, but very subtle. I hope it's subtle for you. I mean, this could be like, oh my God, this thing is drowning in reverb, but I like it like this. So, so I basically have this room, and then I have a little bit of a longer tail, which is like a little bit of a, constructed reverb. I could say I work with custom reverb, that's always good to say. I use custom stuff. Wow, really? What do you use? I mean, yeah, it's just custom, So then there is a lot of stuff happening on the mastering bus here. I always use this dynamic spectrum mapper because it's pretty awesome. It's basically multiband compression, but you can analyze. So you hit capture, and it captures the curve of the track in average, and then you can just provide some threshold on the entire track and give it a little bit more, toast it a little bit together, but give it a little bit more. So it's not even, I have a little bit of a bump going on here around 20 kilohertz. So there's just a little bit of glimmering happening. It seems like, it just pushes a little bit of the hidden or more lower frequencies, but not too much. It doesn't compress it really, but it's just, So this is happening. There is another multiband compressor going on, but also just very subtle. Yeah, I always say subtle, and then I play it back, and then you guys hear like maxing out. So I always like, I don't like to think in categories like saying multi-compression, typical German. It's like, saying like multi-compression, and then you have EQ, and then you have the limiter, and then in the end you have the inflator or something. I sometimes like to think that there is, like several multi-band compression, or even like another. I could get in the drummer, for example, and it would compress it a little bit more, but then you would say, yeah, I mean, 3 multiband compressors. Why could you do this? And but if you just use a minimal amount of each, you get all the characteristic from each of these. So you basically get a custom sound by doing this. And so actually for this demo, I had to get rid of neutron. Sorry, I just put it away because I just disabled it. Because the latency was too much when talking, I would have would have heard myself like a few milliseconds later, and even like this right now, it's pretty difficult to talk. Then there is the invisible limiter going on, and this thing is pretty cool because you can really squash it and. Of course, it starts sounding squashed, but if you do this, I found the AOM, this invisible limiter, is the only limiter which doesn't start, sounding squashed, because the only thing you hear which is sounding squashed here is the typical, let's say the gnarly, the pratzy sound of the trombones. So this thing is pretty awesome. I also had to put the latency to low in order to decently talk. So the next thing happening, this is probably the most important thing I'm always doing, is introducing the little bit of the, I'm just seeing that it's really blurry. I just have to do something about this. I hope in general it's all right. I will take care of this for the next time. Really sorry about that. So I hope you can see everything all right. I just experienced that little blurring stuff happening. So the final thing I always use after the limiter, this is the most important thing. After the limiter, I use the inflator, but just a little bit because it adds a little bit of harmonic distortion. And it sounds like this. Let me just... Whoops. I'm fooling around too much. Okay. Yeah, the sound is good though. Yeah, I was just, readjusting some things because the last stream was 720p and I changed to Streamlabs. And there was a little, optimizing, but I think it wouldn't probably be a good idea to start that stream again. So let's just dig into a little bit of fooling around with the Sine player. Is there anything you'd like to, see or know? And I'm just, as I said before, it could happen that something happens, but I hope not. So the general user interface, like you have the library in the beginning, you've probably seen all the videos. So if you just, let's go for the horns, 12 horns, you can load up these things right by dragging them over. Let's load the horns, the marcato long notes and staccato, the staccatissimo. So now I changed it to key switches. So this would be probably the way you use. And then I could just. So if you're used to this, you could do this, of course. And let me just not overdo it. Let me just quickly do it like, remove these and doing something completely different, because you could switch to poly mode and then you could just have the staccatissimos and the staccato samples. And now you see that little thing here. And I learned, I think CC11 to this. Let me just, I think this changed again. Okay, so what I did here in the options, there is this little thing, it's called polymap CC. So I learned CC14, which is the controller here on my keyboard. And I can just switch in between the staccatissimo and the staccato notes with a CC controller. And it even keeps the dynamics. So just in case, if you don't know, if you don't like to work with key switches like I do, this is pretty cool. I mean, probably you also have the chance to put it on different tracks. So you just have the staccato stuff there and staccatissimo stuff there. But I think it's even cooler to work with CC control, because I don't know actually how many times it happened that I transposed a part with a lot of key switches and I accidentally transposed the key switches with the samples, with the MIDI files, with the MIDI events itself, and then everything was completely messed up. And sometimes it took a little while to realize what happened. So this is a cool thing, and you can change these. But as I said before, if you want to, let me do, if I can do it like this, I simply drag this down, and now I can see that you could also set it up in a multi-timbral way, okay? So that you have like MIDI tracks, you load this as a, over here in the VSTI setup, you load it as a, I don't know how to do this because I stopped, doing the rec stuff. Hope you can see that all right here. The rec stuff a long time ago, because I basically work with instrument tracks, because I don't know why. I mean, it made sense a lot of time ago that you had like all the articulations for one instrument hosted in one contact instance. But this is so much better for me to use instrument tracks, because then you can automate the individual tracks, and you could also deactivate the individual tracks. So just in case, my new computer is standing right below me, so I have to be careful with my feet not kicking the new thing. But I'm actually in the process of porting all the libraries over, installing the sequencers and DAWs and all these things, the plugins. And I will then start building my new template. But even with a machine which has like 128 gigabytes, I will probably go with a route with having just a few essential instruments activated, and then using this, command here to just say disable track. So therefore you save not just the RAM of the loaded instrument, but also in case you have plugins on that track. So you could basically have an entire template with like 2, 3, 5,000 tracks on a computer with, probably 16 or 32 gigabytes of RAM, by just, activating the tracks you want to work on. Yeah, it's a native instrument. It's the A61, I think. I just have to, I don't like the implemented complete software and stuff like this. So I'll always have to. The only thing I want to do is like learn, record MIDI CC commands and doing stuff like this, and not use all this internal, because I want to have a general keyboard where I just go in. And this is also the beauty about, let's stick with the Sine player for a bit more time. When you just want to do something, you go to the options and say, okay, I want to, use my dynamics with CC. Wait, let me just check this. It always changes, sucker. So I just want to use, for example, the dynamics, learn it, and use CC22. So I just hit learn and hit that button. I'm actually on bank 2. And let's go back, say learn mod wheel, and then it's back to CC1. So I want to do this for an entire library, for every knob of a library. And then I see it and I say, okay, I want to control this with that controller and this with that controller, and not doing all this, fancy implemented stuff of like a complete thing, just taking care of all the libraries, because maybe it was just me, but I had a lot of crashes doing it like this. So I hope I think I already answered your question, Tom. Yeah, the only thing I really don't like, it's actually a little bit better in Cubase than in Studio One, but it's definitely the fault of the keyboard is that the mod wheel sometimes, when you just play, that it resets to a certain point where it is right now. So when it is like probably around 33% here, and you record a part just playing something, and suddenly you see like this mod wheel curve jumps to 33% or whatever, or 60 or 100 or whatever you put it to. And to be honest, I never found, so far in these entire 15 years, I never found a keyboard which had a functioning mod wheel. I don't know what it is. I think the only mod wheel which was really working was one of these early MIDI Man keyboards. It was just a very small, I think the Axiom 49, that worked okay. But everything else, even one with a, I forgot the name. It has a really good hammering. How do you say? This hammering control or whatever, this piano feeling of having a real piano. I forgot the word, how to call it, but the mod wheel was even that crappy that I had to return the keyboard. So I'm still on the hunt to find the right keyboard. So what is there anything about the Jxl Brass? Because I think we talked way too less about this. And Also, one thing I want to mention, you can even go here and say, okay, dynamics. I just want to use, the pianissimo as Tom told it. Tom Holkenborg, maybe pianissanissimo and fortissimo. So you can just decide if you just use the double P or the triple F and leave everything out in the beginning, so you can unload RAM. There are a lot of more features, but I don't want to go to all of these. You can set the envelope, you can set individual stuff to legato with having this. So you could instantly set an instrument from sustain to legato. I think you could even, set it up that you can control this all with key switches and controllers. But yeah, it's not just micro movement. It's kind of weird. So you record something and then it shouldn't be, triggered by playing on the keyboard. So it seems like if I hit somewhere here on the keyboard itself, on the keys, that it just reacts in a tiny way. And if you have well constructed keyboards, it doesn't happen. Maybe it's just a flaw in my keyboard, but then I always have keyboards with flaws. So what else? As I said in the beginning, I wrote this demo entirely with let's leave it on the screen for a second. With just the tree samples. So there's nothing happening, no close samples, nothing. It's just one microphone instance, and therefore my library on the drive is just 22, as I said before, 22 gigabytes big. And so talked about the options. You have all kinds of controller maps going. The key switches, you can decide where the key switches start, because when you load in stuff, you always see, let's make this again with key switches. I'm messing probably up my entire demo here. But you see that, I forgot what I wanted to say. What did I want to say? I forgot it. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm getting old. I'm getting that old professor, forgetting the stuff I wanted to talk about. As I said here. So, sorry. Yes, I got it. I'm not that old. Depending on what instrument you're loading at, you have the key switches either assigned at the very low or the very high keys here. And you can all control this with the options. And this is what I also like. And you can easily go in, and saying how you hop over to the My Licenses tab and just go in here and go to your, saying like, oh, I just want to play around with the Alan Meissen Jxl mix. So you have to load a lot of stuff, which is probably like 250 gigs on your. I'm just guessing here. But then you have this kit. What Alan Meissen produced or mixed with Tom together. So as I said in this demo, as you can see, there's just a tree sample. But I gotta easily go in. I'm not really sure if I should do that, if the guys change something on the server right now or working on this actually to make it a perfect release tomorrow. Let's delete the list here. So I could just try to go in, just dare it, no risk, no fun, and just say, okay, for the solo horn, for example, let's download the close mic and surround 2. I'm just mixing something. Let's just leave it like this, not too much. Let's do these 2. And then you just go down here and say download selected, and that's it. And then you hop over to your, so I can decide what drive I want to put it on. So you don't need to go into any folders. You don't have to find the library or locate whatever. You just pick where do I have space, and then you I'm just in case I'm put it on my drive E and say start download. And okay, so the instrument is in use. So I probably have it somewhere here in use. So it doesn't let me download. But let me just try it with something I didn't have. Of course. Why do I the Chimbasy are not in use? Let's do it with this. Let's pick one more. Let's use these. Okay, so download selected. Okay, the same folder. Let's hope this works. Yep. Now you can hop over to your download page. Oh, it just shows one instrument for all the patches here. The sample delay start time. That's a good question. I think I went something with around -100, but just on some patches, because it all felt natural. You know, when you play. Oh shit! I should just. Oh, my heart! I should just finish this downloading. But yes, I decided individually. So there's not really like. I would guess it's always a good thing to have it -50, -100, because most of the libraries, when I think back to the first staccato patches of Symphonia 1, it was probably -20, -40. I remember Los Angeles Symphonic Strings, scoring strings, sorry, was something probably around 20 milliseconds. And I think it's always important to just, think about these latency times, because your track quickly can sound very ungroovy when you don't take care about this. So as you can see right now, this whole thing happened. So I just loaded my, this is the instance. Okay. Yes, I got this. So let's just go down here and load the Chimbasy, and let's go a little bit crazy. Let's just load, to be careful, let's just load the sustains. So now it should happen that you can see. I hope it works out all right. Why does it just have 28 MB? Oh, actually, I know what's going on, because I have to go in here. Now you can see all the microphones, and this is just the close mix. So you have put this, use this little arrow here. Hope you can see this all right. And I just have to check that blurriness. But it's okay. It just seems to not working on the Cubase vertical lines. So what I can do is I just activate these things here. No, I do it here. And then you can see the ROM is rising up. So let's just load all these. I hope this works out all right now. That's some serious balls there. So let me just maybe turn down the... Let me just listen to these individual mixes here. So this is the close. Sounds very funny. Onions, anyone? I mean, this is just the tree. Every time I'm hearing these Chimbasy, I cry a little because I didn't use them in my demo. So let's listen to the surround mix here. And the other close. Yeah, that's seriously some seriously big fucking balls, definitely. And I mean, this is so cool because you can sit down and design your own mix. And then just hop over to the, I'm saying this easy. Let's go with my setup like I did it with all the others. So you can see that we are using 250 megabytes. I should also set this right now you can see that these are the individual MIDI channels. So I'm just setting this all to 1. I forgot to mention this, very important. Okay, so obviously there's a little bit of stuff going on in my mix here. Also, I have the reverb turned on, but actually this is not routed to the, let's be curious for a second how this sounds when I put it into the orchestra stem channel. Yes, I mean, this is really like, yeah, I mean, this is really seriously big fucking balls, because it's just, it's so versatile, you know. You get like I mean, as Tom mentioned it in the video this afternoon, you can really decide if you want to go with a really, you know, like a synthy setup. You want to have it a little bit more artificial, more drama, more epic, just big balls, or you want to go with a very I'm not really sure if these are the best. I'm just fooling around. I didn't fool around too much with the microphone settings, because I was busy testing all the intervals and the legato stuff and the right, you know, round robin samples. And so let's maybe turn down the. Oh. I think, sorry. Oh, sorry. I know what was going on. So I have to hope my computer doesn't crash now. I did one mistake. I'm really sorry about this, because you have to activate each of them. Now we have everything loaded. So I was about, you know, a little bit worried by 250 megs for all these things. And now we have all the microphones loaded. And I still have to find out how to, you know, balance all. Let's just try to simulate it a little bit here. It's doing like this, and this, then hop over to, no, I did it like this. I mean, there's some serious shit happening here, you know, when you just. This is like 80 voices right now, 100. Yes, so my CPU turned up to like. What a nice accident that I, you know, just ordered an 18-core computer, or actually got this standing right here, and I'm so happy to make use of this, and will report back how this all works. Yes, so I mean, I'm actually pretty happy, you know, and this is like, I think this is really an exception, because the Orchestral Tools guys did a really amazing job at just like, you know, getting something like this out of the water. And it's like an amazing sampler. I'd still have to do some, you know, performance tests and see how this all works when it's in like heavy usage. So you probably use a slave again, an 18-core 128 gigabyte slave for the entire microphone settings. But as far as I know, that you can trim down, you know, the mixes to just these and create your own individual mixes and make use of this. This is pretty cool. I didn't fool around with that too much, but this is what I really like about this. And the approach is just so cool to work with, because you set up, as I said before, if you work with key switches, if you work with CC controllers, or if you just like to layer stuff, you can easily do it. And yeah, this makes it pretty. Lord of the Last Iron Man, right? This is the thing. So just in case, if you have any questions, we want to talk about, maybe we can set it to this decent window, so I'm a little bit more closer to you guys, and talk about something. If you just feel like there's anything you want to know. So just in case you pre-ordered, I hope that the guys will be able. Yes, I know. Probably this error message will pop up. Yeah, because of that, download error because of the horns. So probably when I load the session on the next time, it should be all right. So not really a biggie. So I'm really amazed with this thing. It's not something which has been released, which is kind of, like a how do you say, like eye washing, or how do you say, like a blender. So you get like an absolutely amazing GUI and it does nothing. It's just, stuff which trims it down. It looks beautiful, it looks easy, and you instantly know what you can do with it, how you can work with it, and you just go and use it. And this is what I really like. And especially in the first moment, I thought, when I heard like that the store will be implemented in all the licenses, that it sounds like, okay, so now you get like a store inside a sampler. But it works so well. And it's if you think about it, I mean, imagine all libraries would be set up like this. You have, you just, for example, I will probably spend hours of getting my new libraries and new plugins. What do you mean? Sorry, what can I listen to? What you made? What do you mean? You mean listen to this track? So I put it on my SoundCloud account. I think I have to. Oh, sorry. You mean, you didn't really. Yeah, let me just, why not? I mean, I probably changed a few things here, but I played the demo in the very beginning of the, let me just, why not? Let me just switch back to my main view, and let me just play you the full track again, because yes, for everyone who arrived late, let me just play this back. It had to happen at some place. Now, Amindo Music, thanks for following me, and hi, welcome to my channel. Yes, so this was the track. Sorry for being, stupid in the first sense and not really knowing what you wanted to ask. So just in case, I have this track also available on my SoundCloud page. And also there's another thing I quickly want to talk about. There is and you may be already signed up to this, but there is actually my Discord channel is online, and actually the community is growing like crazy. There are like 11 people online and 64 already. So we have 75 people on my Discord channel here. So I can just send you let me just set up an invite link just in case if you're not already here. So let me just quickly get something up here so I can invite you to my channel, because I mean, the more the better, and we can talk about all stuff and, self-promotion. And let me just copy this in here. Does this work like this? Sergeant Fidelity, welcome. Oh, Clay, you're back too. Hey, so I really in the last video, I was just watching the video partly, and I've seen so many chat messages. I was just overreading, this wasn't on purpose. So actually I remember somebody asked me if I had too much coffee. I probably had, but I think I was more excited today because it's really crazy, like to demonstrate or to show a new sampler, not just because of the sample library, but also because of the engine itself, which was performing flawless, except at the very end on the second run. But probably it may be involved with some, I also have backblaze going on, which constantly saves files. So I was probably doing something with a session. Let's try one more. Okay, yeah. It's probably not library machine related, just some minor hiccup. Yeah, thanks. I really feel comfortable in that studio here, So I just plan, later on just do, like a little bit of a different camera, which just points. I can't move it because it's really well constructed, so it doesn't, even if I just hit the table like this, probably you don't see that much because it's really stable. But I want to have another camera, which is like going over here to the, let me just, probably getting some stuff done with a matrix brood. And there is also a DFAM somewhere, a Moog DFAM, and the drum brood and all this stuff. So I was just reading. Yes, you can activate tracks and deactivate tracks as in Studio One. Yes, and this is pretty helpful. What I really like about Cubase is that you can also show tracks with data only. I just have to put it because I have this little. The cable is too short. You probably can't see it partly here. I have this little stream deck going on. It's actually the Jxl version with, let's say, 4 times 8. So it's 32 buttons. I want to put that in here because I probably would take too long. And we have just active tracks here. But if I would build my template now, let's so to say, I would just build this big template. And you have all these tracks, and I would just have some essential tracks being active and the rest deactivated, because I don't see, it doesn't make any sense to me to have like a setup of 300-400 tracks and all active, and then I just just rub one off because I see that I have like 300 tracks active. This is it takes too much time to load, even with like probably an 18-core or whatever bigger computer. And I'm not a fan. When I just want to have an idea, I just want to load something up and want to do the writing. But also, when I need some additional samples, I could just go in here and say, okay, now I need, for example, the horn solo, and you just instantly load it and use it. To just find it, you just do a right click and go disable track here. And I actually had put it on my. Should we try it? Should we just try it? I just deactivate the tuba here. So now the track is deactivated. So this is really like, what the fuck? Yes, there we are. Tuba is back. Yes, so it works. So this is actually a cool thing because it saves RAM. Because as I said earlier, you can probably have, like exaggerating, like going crazy and have a template of 1,000, 2,000, or even 5,000 tracks with a 32 gigabyte machine and have all these tracks in there and just pick what you want to use. Yeah, it's actually, Sergeant Fidelity. It's a never-ending road. I'm doing this for like 15 years, and every day there is something new to discover, and changing the workflow and looking back to a piece, which is actually a good thing. When I listen to some older stuff from me, it's like instant facepalm. But that means that I just developed, and hopefully developed, and not like went back to Stone Age. But it's just a cool thing to realize that you developed and learned a lot of new stuff and new approaches, and yeah. So yeah, I think that's probably around it about it. So I hope this thing will be released tomorrow. And as I said let me just quickly open the page here and see if there's anything new going on. But it should be just still a message. Yeah, so hopefully these guys will be online tomorrow. And I mean, to be honest, this library is, even if I wouldn't be, I mean, I could easily say this because I was doing beta testing and I wrote the demo and, all these things. But by being totally unbiased, I mean, the moment I heard that Tom Holkenborg is releasing a brass library, I was like, okay, this will be an insta-buy. And I don't care how much this thing costs, because it doesn't mean that I'm like a filthy rich bastard or something. I'm not, but it's just this money will be in no time, because you could efficiently work with these samples and with that new engine. And it will be a pleasure to because it's like you don't have to set up different tracks. As we said before, you can combine these, you can layer these questions. And yeah, this is Cubase. This is Cubase 10.5 currently. I'm also working in Studio One. So you don't confuse, you guys, I work with both. Currently, it's just sound design in Studio One and, orchestral composition with Cubase, because as I mentioned before, currently Studio One has a little bit of problems with negative delays above 100. And I really like working with, performance samples and also Nucleus, which is a really awesome library. And I just don't want to miss it. And when you do negative delays above -100 or negative delay above 100, to put it like this, there is a little, it starts getting glitchy in Studio One currently. So even when I do video work, I just want to keep it, because I don't like the video player currently in Studio One. But as I said before, or in general, every digital audio workstation has its advantages and disadvantages. So there is some stuff which I like in Studio One better, especially when it comes to sample exporting and, doing sound design and doing all the drag and drop stuff, because it's really, annoying when you see like this thing in Cubase. You have to open these files all the time, and then you just drag this stuff over, and then sometimes you have to drag it again and it's not in there, and then you just have to hold it for a bit, and then it imports correctly. And in Studio One, you have this nice setup of just instruments and just effects, and you could just jump around and drag and drop shit in and just work with it. So this is what I really like about Studio One. Yeah, never tried Cakewalk, to be honest. I know one of my composer buddies uses it, and he's trying out new DAWs, but then always, no, I'm going back to Sonar. Yeah, the same for me. I tried, I actually have FL Studio, and I would really love to work with it, but I probably should call, Alex Mukala and just teach me a little bit of FL Studio, because it looks really amazing, especially also when you want to go the creative approach. It's not just a digital audio workstation where you put MIDI stuff in. It's also cool to just experiment with stuff and come up with cool things. Yeah, and then there's Reaper. Yeah. I just don't know. Did I forget anything? Did I just didn't talk about anything? Let's just see. Just talk about the hits and rolls. And the little Glockenspiel is actually also another one from the Inspire library. It's also in here. On that error message, it will just stay. I think it just works Glockenspiel, so I didn't want to use any other Glockenspiel. Let's at the end, let's feature the Glockenspiel for a little bit. So there you have it. Lullaby. Pfeffer lullaby. Yeah. So what I also would love to mention for a second is how the runs work. So just in case you never had a chance to check out the Berlin woodwinds, there's this run program. Just wanted to talk a little bit about this. So you can quickly design your own stuff, So as I said, I'm not the best keyboard player, but it's just so you can come up with that little bit of a John Williams-ish stuff. Wow, what kind of VST you would guys recommend for a total beginner? To be honest, since we are in an Orchestral Tools video, I would say, there is the Inspire package. You may want to check out the Orchestral Tools website and check out Inspire, because it's selected instruments from the from everything before the Jxl Brass library, and so you have everything like from percussions to strings. So basically everything. And what I really like, as I mentioned before, is Nucleus by Audio Imperia. It's really a great library. It sounds absolutely amazing. I'm really floored by the sound. Just some back stretching, sorry. And yeah, that's cool. The thing, actually, I have a standing desk here, but I had so much new rewiring going on that I'm just scared to just move up the table and just rip everything off, and just everything flies around and explodes, and then probably the house implodes and everything, and you would read about it in Hamburg newspaper. Yeah. Yes, it's an Orchestral Tools video, because we mainly talked about, just in case you missed this, about the Jxl Brass library. So, yeah, studio problems. That's really like a nice problem to have. But actually, when I have my new machine, I should rewire it that, so I have no problems just moving it up and maybe do some tutorials while I'm standing, so I can be a little bit more active than just, would be funny when I just roll around with my chair here. Yes. So I think, yeah, so just in case you don't have any questions or anything, I would just really call this a day. I mean, I'm really happy that you all participated here. And probably I will most likely go online tomorrow with something. Actually, I don't know what we will be doing. Yeah, thanks for following me, Sergeant Fidelity. That's a cool name, actually. And I will probably go online tomorrow and talk about something. So, do you guys have any suggestions, or what do you want to talk about? What do you want to hear? What do you where we can chat about? Let me just know. I always want to be careful when I just play some kind of famous melodies, because when later on I'm uploading this video to YouTube, that I get like a copyright claim because I was playing, some kind of Lord of the Rings, whatever, Yeah, so just in case you missed it, Sergeant Fidelity, that's just one microphone instance. This is just the general tree. And as I mentioned earlier, this demo was just written with a tree, microphone positions. There is nothing fancy stuff going on. It's just the pure 22 gigabyte tree microphone collection, so to say. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining Musophrenic, and hope to see you soon. Yeah, Clay, I mean, yeah. I think, when it comes to these things like being able to afford instruments, I'm a firm believer that doing like the social, like providing content on a regular basis on social networks, because I think this is really important to build not just a community, but even though the monetization on YouTube or maybe Twitch got something similar with donations and advertising, even though that may be low in the beginning, it may be worth it when you have like a community of 10,000, 20,000 followers or something. And also, there are so many cool things. We could talk about actually in my Discord channel. So I sent you guys an invite. And so I hope, did I send this to the chat? So you can just join there and hope it worked. And then we could just have, a little bit of a chat about all these, about this business stuff in general, because I think 2019, 2020 will be very exciting, especially when it comes to video and, live streaming and not just YouTube, but video in general, like Instagram or even TikTok. Yeah, so just join the Discord channel and we can have a chat or even just find some time to talk about this. Okay, great to see that the invite link worked. Okay, it's also in there. So we just set up this. Actually, I had some great help by a guy named Andrew Blackwater, who I can really recommend, for setting up, just in case you want to get a Discord channel going. And I mean, Discord was actually focused towards the gaming community, but it's such a great way to just talk. I initially wanted to set up a Facebook group and invite everyone, but I mean, it's always the same. You have these Facebook groups, so you're on Facebook again, and then it's like all, let's say, led by all these algorithms. So you eventually see a post or you don't see it, and it depends on interactivity and all, which is very important. But and you don't even have a live chat, So we could even have a screen shared video stream inside Discord. So that's what I really like it. And you could chat and get together with other guys and collaborate or whatever you want to do. And also have a section in there where you can promote yourself. And just in case if you're just starting out with a YouTube channel, we could definitely assign it that you just post your channel and you have your first video, your first informative video going on, and we just go on there and help you a little bit of, featuring your channel and sending you some positive comments, of course, and likes. Yes. So I think we covered a lot of stuff, actually. Yeah. So I think I would, as I said before, I would be probably coming back tomorrow night, but I'm still not sure what we want to do. Maybe we could finish that trailer track we started a while ago. Maybe we can have something else going and just you guys decide. I mean, maybe you can drop me a message in the Discord channel, what you would like to see in the general channel. And yeah, otherwise, if you don't have any if you have any questions right now regarding the library, so to just get back on topic here on the Jxl Brass library, man, I will probably have a lot of fun with that thing, seriously. So in case you got some yeah, exactly. There are no stupid questions, you know? I mean, you know, this is the most important thing, that you have to start somewhere. I mean, we all started. If there's somebody saying, I know everything and, you know, just leave me alone with your stupid questions, that person probably didn't understand how to even, you know, collaborate and come along with other people. I mean, it's also very important that you don't see you know, competition. I don't like to see, I mean, I don't like the term competition. To me, it's all a big community. And eventually, of course, somebody will get the gig, and somebody, maybe like 2 or 3 of you guys pitched for a gig, and then just one guy went with it. And sometimes there's a lot of money involved. And of course, sometimes it's helpful to just say, fuck, I would have needed this money. But in the end, I mean, it's a big community, and it's good that this stuff happens. Maybe in the long run, somebody else gets the gig, so you're open for something entirely new. You never know, right? And so, I was just drifting off for the when you said stupid questions. Okay, so just in case, so you don't have any questions here, and you just chimed in later and you want to see the full stream, I will upload it on YouTube. Again, sorry, I will just try to optimize the settings for the videos. I will check back. Hopefully, the recorded stream on Twitch will be better, and also the video uploaded to YouTube will be a bit better. And yeah, I will just call it a day. And I would be happy if we meet again tomorrow, maybe in my Discord channel, or maybe somewhere else, maybe live one day. And I would say have a great night. Thanks, man. I really appreciate. So have a great night, have a good day wherever you are, and hope to see you soon. And thanks for watching, and see you later. Bye. Good night.